Hey Titas and Titas, welcome back to TitoFit. My name is Austin and today we have an exciting shoe review on the Nike Free Metcon 5. A shoe that I think brings back the beloved essence of the original Nike Metcon line. Let's go! I've used the Nike Free Metcon 5 for about a month now, and before we get to how it performed, I'm gonna tell you about some key features that really jumped out to me before even putting the shoe on. See, most of you don't know this, but I'm actually an industrial design student in college. Being an industrial designer is designing shoes. That's some of the things that you can design as an industrial designer. And I understand some of the improvements that Nike has done to this shoe. So this is the fifth one, but essentially this silhouette has been the same since the Nike Free Metcon 5. But for the fifth iteration, they've added a few things that really jump out and caters more to what its function is. First off, of course, we have that Nike Free outsole, an outsole that Nike has been utilizing for their shoes since 2005. That's about 18 years now. The Nike Free sole, which moves with your foot, is their main selling point. Offers stability and flexibility at the same time, so it's the best of both worlds. So up front, as you move your foot, inside, the sole is so flexible. I can actually cut it in half, fold it in half, see? So it gives you that much freedom when you're moving, and also laterally gives you that freedom as well. Next, the breathable mesh upper. I cannot stress enough how comfortable this is. It feels like you're wearing a sock, but it's a shoe. So it serves me well in keeping my foot fairly cool. It dissipates heat very well, especially during those long training sessions. Next is a big thing for me because it's something that they added on for this fifth iteration, something that was surprisingly missing for a Metcon shoe, for a CrossFit cross-functional shoe, which is a TPU counter here on the heel. It offered so much support during lifts and especially when you cut. So this plastic thing, this red thing on this shoe actually cups your whole heel, offering some much needed stiffness here in the back. So it's pretty free in front, pun intended, and it's very stable in the back, much like Metcon DNA should be. This sole is pretty free, but Nike has added a few things to make this shoe really stable, especially for CrossFit and intense workouts. They've actually added some outriggers here. I don't know if it registers on camera, but this thing and this thing here on the lateral side and on the median side, it's just mostly here in the back. So it might not look much, but this offers that much needed support from keeping your foot from rolling over. So those outriggers compensates for how free this sole lets your foot move, but when you need to lift and when you need that stability, it's there with the outriggers. And to really get that foot locked in, they've employed this lacing system. Also here on the other side. And this is actually a last that goes from the shoelaces as it loops here, and it goes under your foot. So it really hugs your foot into that sole and within that upper for that one-of-one fit. So this really helps with stability. This really helps with keeping your foot locked in. This helps with letting the shoe move with your foot by having a one-to-one fit with this lacing system. Alright, so I've been testing this shoe, as I've said, for a whole month now, and I think it performed really well. I've done some weightlifting on this shoe, of course, and of course I've done some Metcons in this shoe. I've even done a couple qualifier workouts with this shoe, some last minute qualifier workouts with this shoe. Thank God I brought these shoes because I wouldn't choose anything else if I had to go and jump into a Metcon really quick. I've even done some short air runners on these. I didn't attempt to run this on the road. Mostly because of this colorway. Look at this, it's beautiful, and it's beautiful when it's clean and white. So if you're gonna get this shoe, maybe if you're, you don't want to mess it up too much, or you want to mess it up a lot, maybe don't get this colorway. There's so many colorways out there. There's an all black one, there's a neon one. Even on short runs, well, the Nike Free Sole was originally catered to running shoes, so this performed fairly well for a Metcon shoe during those short runs on the Air Runner. When it comes to stability, as I've mentioned in the key features, they did incorporate some features here that helps you do some lifts, but I wouldn't necessarily recommend this shoe for a max out day, saying that, looking for your 100% or your new 1RM on your training days. I would say it's great for, about 60 to 70 to even 80% of your lifts on the back squat and front squat, any weightlifting. It's great for those percentages, which honestly is most of my training days anyway. That's where I usually work around in. And if I feel like it's a day that's needed for 1RM or really heavy lifts, when I hit that 90% of my lifts, I usually go for something stiffer, maybe this Nike Metcon 8. On most training days, great shoe for lifting. The combination of the heel clip, the outriggers, the stable sole here in the back really helps me with the stability on the 70 to 80 to even some 90% lifts. But just to be safe, just for my conscience, if you do watch this video, when you do lift and try to find those 1RMs, maybe you can get a proper lifting shoe, or maybe something stiffer, maybe Metcon 8 or even some Romaleos or some lifters out there that's available to you. But when I'm done with lifting and it's time for a Metcon, I usually switch back to these shoes because the breathable mesh upper really helps me not only keeping my foot cool, but mentally it helps me as well because it's just how much comfier this is than those shoes. I can just think about the workout, I can just think about the next movement, I can just think about doing my reps. So yeah, and the way this sole performs when I jump, when I cut, it helps me just do those with ease. There's no hot spots in the shoe with this upper, but at the same time, it offers me enough stability that I could just pick up a barbell, clean it in the middle of a workout, heavy-ish barbell with no hesitation that this shoe got my back. As I've said at the start of the video, I think this shoe, the Nike Free Metcon 5, is something that brings back the beloved essence of the main Nike Metcon line. What do I say that? Let me just get this other shoe real quick. So right now, this is the latest iteration of the Nike Metcon line. The Nike Metcon 8. So the 9 is coming out in a month or so, but right now this is what we have. I have here the Fly East version, but let's not dwell on that too much because I think it's pretty much the exact same shoe as the Nike Metcon 8 line. So I think right now this shoe pretty much kind of went away from what it was in the Nike Free one, in the Nike Metcon 1 or the Nike Metcon 2. It's pretty much gotten away from that a bit through the years, through 8 years of evolution in this shoe. I remember the Nike Metcon 1, which was a jack of all trades kind of shoe. This shoe has evolved so much that it feels like it's leaning towards one direction more than the jack of all trades that it used to be. My God, this hyperlift in the back when you walk with this, when you run with this, you can just feel it like plop to the floor. That's how stable it is. So as I've said, when I lift, I love these because it just gives me that much stiffness. Like, listen to this. That's hard plastic under your foot. So when it comes to lifts, when it comes to weightlifting, it's great for that. Maybe some jumping and some cutting, but it's still bent, but it's much harder to, you know, to fold with your hand. It's a much stiffer sole, and I think they've added so many things to this shoe throughout the years. It's so much laden with overlays already, with fuse here all around the shoe. Right now it's well broken in because I've used it for a while, but when I first used this, my god, it was really stiff. It took a few wears to break in. This Nike React up front, I can barely feel it actually, but it's there. I mean, it offers protection, but I can just when I wear this shoe, when I come back from this, it feels really stiff. It feels like, you know, it's more of a lifting shoe than it is a Metcon shoe, which is actually the namesake of the shoe. So I feel like this shoe really brings back what the Nike Metcon line used to stand for, or should stand for, right? It offers stability, flexibility, lockdown support, and of course, that beautiful grip down there. So if you're someone who values those things, I think the Nike Free Metcon 5 is the shoe for you. It's a great all-around shoe, especially if you do CrossFit or cross training. It offers that stability, it offers that support, it offers that great style as a Tito. But you know, providing support and durability even in those intense workouts, while giving you the freedom to move freely in whatever movement or whatever scheme that Metcon has for that day. To wrap things up, we've mentioned in the last video that there are 3 lines now in the Nike Metcon line. There's the main Nike Metcon line, which is in the 8th iteration now. The Nike React Turbo, which we've reviewed in the past, and the Nike Free Metcon 5, which I think again is what brings back the ethos of a Nike Metcon. I've seen pictures of the Nike Metcon 9, the next shoe in the main line, and I think it harks back a lot to what this shoe is at the moment. It's coming back to that mesh upper. The sole, the upper seems to be less overlaid now. There's much more mesh now. I think the heel is no longer overdone. We'll see about the sole when it comes in, so stay tuned for that. We'll definitely review that shoe in the future. But right now, if you're looking for a shoe that delivers on all fronts, I think the Nike Free Metcon 5 is for you. My god, that's a long name, but it's a great shoe. That's it for today. I hope you liked this video. Give it a thumbs up if you like it. If you don't, maybe subscribe, and maybe you'll like a video in the future enough that you like it for yourself. So that's it for today. Thank you.